Sorry. All right, welcome back to the Town Tailgate. All right, 10 biggest moments of the season. How Julio and I did this, we kind of like put it together a list of like 16 moments from the season, and we picked our top 10, and then we like averaged them out to make it like one solid list. There's a couple ties in here, so but it equals out to 10 basically. Like there's a tie for fourth, there's a tie for first
and eighth. Third. There's 3 ties.
Oh, and eighth too, yeah. But what were you gonna say?
I think the one thing just kind of going back on this season was it was really weird. This was a lot of ups and downs. Really weird season where I think in previous years we could think of more specific, like, oh yeah, when this happened, and this was just an odd year. And you're probably gonna, as we go through this and you're listening and playing it back, you're like, yeah, that I totally forgot that happened. You're like, oh, that was amazing when that happened. But then it's like, oh shit, yep, dude, that was a thing.
When we were making these lists, I kept on thinking like, oh yeah, like this was the moment when I said on the pod we're championship contender. It's like, this is the moment when I said, like, we're not good enough. And then I was like, this is the moment when I said, like, excuse me, like Ramon's an MVP candidate. This is the moment where it was like, it was the worst day of my summer. And it's like all these different things and emotions. And you're just like, fuck, like this is a tough exercise. But let's start it off. Number 10, Julio.
Oh, what? No. Before we do.
Oh, you want to do the honorable mentions? Okay.
There we go. Good. Lead it off. Sorry.
No. You go. You go ahead.
Our honorable mentions, we wanted to kick it off with our first win of the year. The A's walk off Kenley Jansen after starting 0-6 and get their first win of the year. It was a Wednesday day game. It was just look, we knew they were going to win a game. It was just a huge, thank God it's over with.
It's a stress
Chris, do you have
reliever.
anything to add to that?
No, it was a stress reliever. And it was almost like a joke. Like I remember, I think I heard, like one of the guys said on the broadcast, like, hey, they can't lose every day.
No. Next up, Dave Kaval goes to a Golden Knights playoff game and pretty much lights A's Twitter on fire. It was probably one of the biggest definitions of read the room in 2021, especially after the Vegas days of Vegas was a kind of starting off. He goes to a Knights game and talks about how electric the playoff atmosphere is when, not like Oakland has a bad playoff atmosphere either.
No, I remember 2013, 55,000 strong, losing their minds, spinning fucking golden towels over our head when Stephen Vogt hit the walk-off single. That was the moment that the A's fans turned on Kaval too. Before It was like ownership's full of shit. Caval's doing his best to make ownership realize like the turnaround. And then he shows up to that game, sends that picture, says that comment. And it's just like, boom. Fans are like, you're full of shit. You're full of shit. Like and now like, no matter what he does, he will never get our respect or our confidence back. I don't think, even if this deal works out with the A's, even if they put a shovel in the ground, and this is like the best stadium in baseball, I don't think he'll ever get the trust back.
There'll be a little bit of bitterness for there because like you don't do that to people, especially like Oaklanders. They don't forget about that.
Yeah, the Bay Area made his career too. Anyway,
this was kind of a compilation of days, but the trades.
Yeah,
getting Andrew Chafin.
We were stoked at the time, but now looking back, it's hard to be happy about that because we lost our best prospect for literally nothing. Yeah.
Josh Harrison, Jan Gomes, Andrew Chafin, and of course, Starling Marte both came in. All 4 came in and really just lit this team on fire as much as they could at that time. We didn't realize what was going to happen over those next couple months, but they did what they needed to do.
Yeah. My buddy Sean texted me, and I'm meeting up with him after this, and he wanted me to give a shout out because I told him I was doing a podcast. So shout out, Sean.
Sean, shout outs. And the last honorable mention we had here features one of those guys. It was Josh Harrison's game-saving snow cone catch in Anaheim. It was the end of September 19th to be specific. And that was one of those games. Highlights where like when they make like his career best of highlights, that play is going to be up there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now we start the list.
Woo!
Number 10, Matt Olson participates. I was going to say contends, and then I changed to participate midway. So that's why it was participate. Anyway, participates in the home run derby. Obviously, we've had plenty of A's participate in the home run derby in the past. Mark McGwire, Yoenis Cespedes winning twice in a row. Josh Donaldson, Matt Chapman, list goes on and on. But this one was, it was cool, which is why it's number 10. Like, it's cool. We've seen it before. It was fun to watch him do it. Gave us a reason to watch the home run derby. So that was number 10. Julio, do you want to give the number 8s?
Yeah, we got a tie.
Sorry. Do you want to talk about it, or did I cover all that?
You pretty much covered it. I think, if I remember it, he got a little screwed over. I think some of the pitches he was getting weren't the best.
Yeah. Bob Melvin throws batting practice. Throws batting practice, and it was not Bob Melvin throwing him at the derby.
No, and you can just tell the rhythm was off. Once he started clicking, it was too late. But hey, like I said, anytime you can get some representation in there, it's great. In 8th, tied, so 8th and 9th pretty much, but they tied with each other. Mark Canha hit a walk-off hit in his last at-bat in Oakland as an A to beat the Astros. Very awesome moment.
I think we all knew that was going to be his last game in Oakland too.
Super poetic, very emotional afterwards. And then something that happened in the booth, Ray Fosse doesn't get his eclairs, and the biggest dessert fit is thrown. And the reason I put that on there is, again, we didn't know what the rest of this year was going to hold for us, and kind of knowing that like that was going to be one of our last like funny moments after all these years with Fosse. We had to put it up there, and I think it got where it deserves to be.
Yeah, I think it blew up after he passed away, being like, this is like the last funny moment of him in the booth. Yeah, no matter what, I think that was going to be in my top 10 no matter what, just because it was, like you said, everything about it.
If there's anything that Fosse loved more than his family and baseball, it was
food.
Desserts. Food.
It was food in general.
Oh yeah.
Remember, remember when they did the food trucks in Champions Plaza? He would talk about that all the fucking time. See, because have you been to this pizza truck they got back there? I'm telling
you're kidding.
I'm telling you, Kai, it's some good stuff.
And they make people go get the food.
Yeah.
And speaking of foodies, Mark Canha. What else can we really say? I think he's easily going to go down the last 10 years as like one of the most lovable A's during that time, and to kind of have this be his send off against our most hated team at the moment. Love it.
Yeah. Number 7.
Chris.
Yeah. Frankie outduels Shohei Ohtani. I think this was on national TV too, wasn't it? Wasn't this Sunday Night Baseball?
No, but I was at this game.
Oh.
It was in Anaheim.
Shit.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason, because I'm like, dude, this was one of these games where like I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life, because it's like, if you guys remember the game, this happened in September, really weird time for the team. Ohtani just dominated. His stat line: 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. He was just on it. And he gave up 2 home runs, and that was the 2 runs. But guess who was even better? Frankie Montas. 7 innings, 1 hit, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, no earned runs.
I want to say this was on national TV, because I could have sworn like we were tweeting about how like Frankie's doing this in front of America. Right.
That might have been the ESPN game. Oh no, Frank.
Maybe it was an ESPN Tuesday game or something like that. I don't know.
Here's the thing. He did it so many times in the second half of the season where you were just like, God damn, he's on a roll. You kind of lose track of it, but this one is just so memorable. Well, one, because I was there to be biased, but 2, it's like, it's Ohtani. He was the MVP. Yeah. He was the guy who
there's a lot of bias. We're going to see a lot of bias later on in this list.
That is very true. And if you know, you know.
All right, number 6, Julio. 13-game win streak in April after starting. I mean, was it 0-6? I thought it was
0-6.
Yeah. After starting 0-6, our heads were pretty down after that losing streak, and we were like, fuck. And then they got that walk-off win over Kenley, and we're like, all right, cool. Like, at least April won't be too bad. And then they do go on that 13-game win streak, and it was like, all right, cool. We're the best team in baseball. And that's the point when like I was telling you guys before this list, where I'm like, this is a championship team right here. And boy, was I wrong. That just made April fun, dude. That streak was so cool, and we're hitting on all cylinders. Our pitchers were just tearing it up. Cole Irvin just like came out guns a-blazing after you were high on him in spring training, but I was not. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. It was just
it was such an innocent time, man. It was such a sweet, innocent time. They were playing.
That's a great way to describe it. Such an innocent time.
I was looking back. They played some pretty bad teams. It was like Baltimore, Arizona. I think the Twins were a part of there. But yeah, Jed was hitting super well. That's when we were like, dude, this is going to be an absolute steal. The fact that this 37-year-old who hasn't played in 2 years is hitting this well.
On a minor league deal.
Yeah. I think we were pretty high on it too, because, for those of you who haven't heard before, Chris and I are in the same fantasy baseball league. Mm-hmm. And we're all like, fucking get Jed. Somebody. Mm-hmm. And like, it was like the fight to pick up Jed Lowry. And it was cool for those couple of weeks. And it was just nice to kind of see that, after such a bad start, it didn't bug them.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a tie for fourth. Here between Tony Kemp hits the go-ahead home run in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Yankees.
Suck it,
in
Rich.
August on ESPN. Yeah, so suck it, Schlatters. Love you guys. That was an awesome moment. And then, of course, Seabass returns to the mound September after getting hit in the face of the line drive in Chicago the month before. We didn't think he was going to return the season, maybe not even pitch again. And he comes back and he's dominant. Both, I think, were super awesome moments. I think between the two of these, me personally, the Tony Kemp home run was like my moment of the year, especially because it was national TV. Just even rewatching the highlight earlier, setting this list up, was like, it was awesome.
Was that like a Fox game or something? Like a Fox
ESPN game? Yeah, it was fucking A-Rod was on the call. So, he was, if the Oakland A's, if they want to do well, what they got to do is just got to pitch. They got to pitch and hit those runs.
And then Matty V. I love Matty V, but that wild card game was a rough watch. Like listening to him just like, and Kyle Schwarber coming over from the Cubs. And you're like, wait, what? Didn't he play for the Nationals? like what are we talking about here? Anyway, I think the Seabass thing was like, it's such mixed emotions because you're so happy to see him there, but like, and he like kicked ass that game, and we're still technically in the hunt, but like, we were pretty far out of it. It was pretty unobtainable at that point. And you're like, you see how well he does, and you're just like, man, if we would have had him for this past month, like, fuck, who knows what could have happened. So it was just like such kind of a roller coaster of emotions. It's hard to really put that one into words. Sorry, I keep looking up because Cincinnati is on a run right now and Alabama's whooping their ass, but they still got time to score. Sorry, college football playoff is on in the background while we're doing this. But yeah, it was just kind of like it was just so many mixed emotions. But yeah, I think it was just good to see that he was okay, and that he could, and he still had it too. You know what I mean? Because like, let's say that he doesn't come back to the A's, like that his future is safe, knowing that he has proved that he can still pitch at a very high level.
Yeah, exactly. And even though there wasn't the pitch count and stuff like that, to see him out there was super inspirational.
I think they lost that game too, which kind of sucks. I think they blew it after he came out.
Right. Third, number 3, my lord, James Caprillion gets his first MLB win and shuts down the Boston Red Sox in Fenway. It was a shaky first inning. I think we all remember that. And he comes out and just dominant from that point on forward.
But the real story for this game is his dad losing his mind, like just throughout the game, like standing up and clapping his ass off. And he did not only just catch the eye of A's Twitter, he caught the eye of Major League MLB Twitter, like everybody was posting about it. Jeff Passan was posting about it. Ken Rosenthal was posting about it. Like he was just that like just extravagant and just excited that like just you were in on it. You were like, it's like you were there with him and you knew so much about him.
And Doug kind of became like the second mascot of the team of the way for the rest of the way. Every start Cap was out there. If it was in Orange County, because James Caprillian's family lives in Orange County, or if they were playing, I didn't play the Dodgers in LA this year, but I think they play the Padres in San Diego. We're like, Doug's got to be there. Mm-hmm. And of course, every broadcast they shot him sitting like in like usually behind the for the third base dugout up that way. And I don't think we realized how important Cap was going to be this season. I think he's like slowly become one of your favorite players.
Yeah, that was his coming out. You're
super high on him.
Because we knew I remember like the whole thing was like, all right, we got nothing out of the Sonny trade. And now it's like, oh, maybe we did get something out of the Sonny trade.
Yeah, he's like, let's see. But I think these next couple of years are going to be really important for his development. Yeah. And I hope this is only the start of his career. Chris, we have a tie for number one.
Of course we do.
One of these things is not like the other. I'll tell you that.
No.
So the tied for number one of our moments. Not reflect on the fan base, but our moments. Starling Marte hits a walk-off home run in the first game without Ray Fosse in the booth after he stepped out.
And Ramon had just left.
Ramon had just been suspended. Yeah. And what happens that first game? Days go to extras. Starling Marte hits a walk-off home run.
Yeah.
I was also at that game. So again, maybe a little biased, but not as biased as.
That was when the like, let's do it for Ray started. But not as biased as my narcissism definitely went into my voting for this top 10. The number one moment of the Town Tailgates A season was when this guy right here, Chris Madrigal, caught a fly ball on national TV, ESPN. There it is for those of you watching on YouTube. I'm pointing at it right now. That's the ball right there, and that's a picture of me holding the ball in the stadium, ladies and gentlemen. Overnight celebrity. And honestly, I think that was the biggest moment for this podcast because within 5 days, we got like 300 to 400 more followers just because that one video that my dad just happened to take while he was watching the game. We posted it on Twitter and you guys just fucking started retweeting and liking it like crazy. And yeah, it got us a lot of followers and a lot more listeners. So thank you for that.
Chris Jamie Tart Madrigal. There.
They call me.
Me.
Right in the chest. Let me rephrase that. I didn't catch the fly ball. I took a fly ball off the chest on national TV.
The foul ball caught you.
Foul ball, yeah.
The foul ball caught you.
No, it didn't because I didn't catch it. So it hit me. Cheap shot.
Took
a cheap shot
from my side. Just my phone blew up. They were like,
"Yeah,
was that Madrigal?"
Yeah.
Is that I'm like, yes.
Everybody I knew was like, who was watching the game on ESPN, which was a lot of people who weren't even A's fans. They're like, dude, you were just on TV. Or like, dude, why didn't you catch that ball? I was like, how'd you know?
What helps your case too is because you always wear the black jersey.
Yeah.
Super distinct. You don't see that many people wearing the all jersey, the all black jersey anymore.
The all black jersey, which my grandma got me for my graduation present when I graduated from high school in 2019.
2009.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what?
2000, yeah, I'm over here drinking a beer. It's 2019, 20 years old. Take a quick sip there. 2009. That was my grandma who was the season ticket holder who passed the tickets down to my parents. And it's a special place in my heart. That's the reason why I wear that jersey all the time. It's the reason why I still have it. It's one of my most prized possessions. If my apartment went up in flames, that'd be one of the three things that I would grab. And it has my last name on it. And I turned back away from the camera, and that was pretty much a giveaway right there when you just read Madrigal and someone who is of my very unique stature.
And that was the story of the family Madrigal in Encanto. That's how it all started.
I still need to watch that movie. How is it? It's not Pixar, right? It's just like Disney animation.
It's fine. It's fine compared to the last few Disney animated movies, but I'm telling you, the music in it will linger on you.
Oh yeah, it's that good, movie,
huh? It's super catchy. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
It's not and it's also not a Mexican family, right? It's like Colombian.
It's Colombian.
Yeah.
But like some of the animation is really, really cool in it, but the story compared to what they've been doing recently has been
compared to like Coco and shit.
Or compared to like Zootopia and like Moana and Wreck-It Ralph those years, but we can talk. Anyways, Marte walk off. Before we wrap this up, anything else you want to add on that? I think those few months of having him on that team were just so special. I think we're going to be remembering him for a long time in those runs, even if it didn't pan out the way we wanted it to. Just like how much fun it was for like every single time he was up. It was like watching Mini Ricky at times.
He went to the Mets too, right?
Yes.
So it was him, Mark Hanna, and Simeon.
Well, Simeon went to the Rangers.
Okay. But it was him and Mark Hanna. There's a reason why the Mets stole our outfield. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
The best way to explain it. They needed guys who could play both sides of the ball. And so that's what they did. They got two big arms who can cover a lot of ground and who can hit. So, yeah. All right, Julio, that has been 10 biggest moments of the season. Congratulations. Our first ever. This is a tradition now.
To all those who listen, do you agree? Do you disagree?
Tradition.
Is there anything we missed? I'm sure there definitely was some stuff we missed because it's kind of hard to go back and replay a lot of the stuff that happened throughout the year. I know Sean Manaea had some really great starts.
Yeah.
With the fact that we don't have Matt Chapman anywhere on this shows that like, even though Matt Chapman,
I think that means that we're just too accustomed to his amazingness at third base.
So
if Matt this was Chapman 2 years ago, we would have like 3 Matt Chapman defensive plays.
Because plus he was an all-star that year too. But
but I mean, he was just as good defensively this year as he has been in years.
Matt Chapman on defense is getting to the point where when Steve Kerr was asked a month or two ago, I think when Steph broke the record, where he was just like, "Oh, are there any specific moments with him that you were like, oh yeah, that was it?" He's like, "I'll be honest, he kind of reminds you of MJ in a way that like there's so much stuff that happens all the time with them that you kind of just they're all blend and you forget." That's what Matt Chapman's defense has become. It's just like, he just does that shit normally.
For real. I agree.
Now, before we sign off, got to give a couple quick plugs. If you didn't see this morning, Betty White passed away. RIP to one of the comedy legends at 99 years old.
I don't know if plugs are the right word.
Plugs in memoriam.
Yeah.
But I think one that really struck the both of us really close was football legend, East Bay native, John Madden.
If you haven't seen all Madden documentary, I highly recommend watching it because I wouldn't say that it's a great sports documentary, but it really puts into perspective any generation, like how each generation has viewed John Madden and how in his impact on each generation of football fan. Like, you know, my dad grew up with John Madden as a football coach, and that's who he always is. Like, he's a football coach first, announcer, video game guy second. I grew up with him as on Monday Night Football. So to me, he's an announcer. He's an announcer first. He's the Raiders head coach second, and then the football, and then the video game. But like my cousin Sebastian, who's 13, he knows him as his name's on this video game, this legendary video game. And it's just like, it's really crazy. And it's really interesting to put that in perspective. And the reason why, the things about his personality, the reason why he captivated so many people in that way. And like, just nobody can say a bad thing about him. And it's just, and how just polarizing is not a good word because it's not negative. It's just like how
diverse. He had a very diverse range. Like it, and you can kind of say the same thing about Betty White too. Is like those 3 generations you just said, all will remember her for different reasons.
Betty White, more than 3 generations. You're talking 6 generations. She's had an impact on.
But like, you know, my parents, when your parents will probably be like, "Oh, Mary Tyler Moore Show," and for us, it's kind of, and then, you know, our older siblings are like Golden Girls. Yeah. But for us, it's kind of just like this dope ass woman.
She's never shied away from just like humor too. Like I've seen her make a lot of raunchy jokes on TV, which is great.
Absolutely.
She's like 100 years old and she's making those jokes. So great. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Madden
game? Yeah, Madden 04. Right. Easily.
It's the right answer. It's always the right answer.
Michael Vick on the cover. Michael Vick was a cheat code in that game.
The hit stick.
Whenever you would like do your fantasy team draft, he was always like the number one pick easily. And if you picked like in the later first rounds and he was already picked, I would just redo the draft so I could get him on my team.
So I always remember we had like a little party and
no, hit stick wasn't until
that was 05.
The year after.
Ray Lewis, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I remember we had some family over, or like my cousins were over, and one of my cousins we were playing Madden a lot, and he kept only using the Falcons because all he was doing was running outside with Vic, and you couldn't catch him.
Mm-hmm.
So how I beat it, how I eventually beat him, was I would play as the Panthers, and I would just put like Julius Peppers on just like
that Panthers team
watching Michael Vick.
That Panthers defense was so good. They had Julius Peppers on one end and they had Mike Rucker on the other end.
Yeah.
And then
Chris Jenkins in the middle.
Yeah, dude. Like that defensive line was so fucking good. Oh my.
But it's crazy that like that's for a lot of us. That's how I learned about football, man, was playing Madden. And like, because it's like they committed to actually, the franchise is a lot more different now than it was then. But it's like they actually committed to like make you learn about the game. Like, oh, this guy keeps running on you. Well, why don't you just have somebody watching the whole time? Little things
Julio,
like that.
Remember when we used to do theme parties in college when we come back for summer, and we did Aaron Willis, now Aaron Kessler, shout out, did a theme party where it was a J party where she would pick a letter of the alphabet and you would have to come as a costume of something that began with the letter J. And Julio came as John Madden. He had the headset. He like dressed like him. And then he brought the video. When you brought the video game case with you and you're just walking around with the Madden video game case, and we were playing Flip Cup, and you grab a piece of paper and a Sharpie and you start like drawing out what happened on the table through the play. Like you're illustrating.
All right, what's going to happen here? You'll go Chris over here.
All right, so we had Chris on this side, and then he flipped his cup, boom. And next over, and then it was to Kevin. Kevin flipped his cup, boom. And then craziness happened. And then Julio and Riley flipped their cups back to back, boom, boom. And it was just like, and we were all just dying laughing. We're like, oh my God, Julio went just a full costume right there. That was so great.
I was trying to find the picture and I was like deep diving and like I couldn't find it. I know it's somewhere out there.
There were some great costumes at that party. I came in as a Jedi, but there was some other way better ones.
So Adam Kahn was just woke up. So he was just in a bathrobe and slippers and a coffee mug. And then the following year,
and he was drinking beer out of his coffee mug.
And then the following year was a B party. So he showed up in the same thing and said he was barely awake.
Those were the days, dude, working at the water park and just partying every fucking night. All right. Anyway, sorry, reminiscing. Shout out to John Madden. That's how much of an impact you had. You influenced Julio to dress as you as a at a party.
He also made us aware of and maintaining feet problems. Boom, tough acted.
Yeah. He didn't give me to like Miller Lite though, so gotta do better.
That takes a lot.
Chris, so piece Betty White and John Madden. Yeah, sorry. Our last pod close out the pod.
That's our last pod of the year, man. Another great year. So salute, shout out to us.
Cheers.
Thank you for everybody who's been listening and to commenting all this stuff. The community, I love this community, and I hope this is only just the start. We do much bigger things. How much
we've grown in that community, presence-wise, in the past year and a half is just mind-blowing to me. So thank you to all of our listeners and all of our Twitter fans out there who like us. Like, I don't know why we suck. So yeah,
you suck.
No, I mean, I think it helps that we're lifelong friends. So we do bring a bit of a chemistry to the table. So it feels like I've heard this multiple times from people. It feels like they're just hanging out, talking baseball with us. And we're going to keep that same energy. We're going to keep doing that. We love
keep that energy, boss.
We don't know when we're going to do another pod because we don't know when there's going to be MLB news, but we'll stay active on Twitter. We'll stay active out there doing things. I don't know. But thank you to everybody who has become fans of ours, who's joined the tailgate.
That's right. Always room with the tailgate. And you got to give me the sign off, man. I can't do it without you.
I'm getting to it. I'm taking a sip of my beer. Last but not least, Julio. The last
Let's go, Oakland. Have a safe and happy New Year's.
Well, you can be a little reckless.
Call
in a fun way. Call an Uber. They're going to be expensive though. So, yeah.